Welcome to the Night Zone with Zivko, our dear audience. I wish good evening to our dear guests here, to all Serbia citizens, and to all people around the world who watching us in front of their screens. Tonight our guest is dear Mirkolov Sharpe, who has done various research on relations between the European Union and Serbia. With Mr. Mirkolov, we will focus on the questions and problems within the framework of the European Union, which has been on the agenda recently. As stated, is Serbia will be able to join the European Union in 2025? Are there any obstacles in front of us, or how are the wishes and reactions of the Serbian people on these issues? We will discuss these and similar questions in the following minutes. First of all, thank you very much for accepting my offer and coming to the show, Mr. Sharpe.
I am really happy to be here tonight. Thank you for invitation. We have got a lot to talk about. We can get started.
So, before we come to today's discussions, we can start by giving a general information to our viewers about the accession history of Serbia's on European Union.
Okay, sure. If I summarize briefly, first of all, Serbia had a troubled period until the application process due to both internal and external conflicts and developments such as the Kosovo issue. But when we look at it, we see a 20-year relationship, and we are in the waiting list for a long time. We can compete with Turkey in this context. After Serbia gained its independence, the first official application for membership was made in 2009. It was later accepted as a candidate country in 2012, and this process is still continuing. The question of whether the expected return will actually come or whether Serbia wants to participate with the same enthusiasm really creates dilemmas.
So, what do you think the European Union and Serbia can gain from each other?
Geographical locations always play a role in laying the foundation for interstate policies or relations with organizations such as the European Union. The Balkans is a precious region for the European Union because it forms a bridge to the east. The current enlargement of the European Union is in this direction. For Serbia, this integration has strategic gains. When we compare Serbia in 2009 and today, we see a large economic growth, which is increasing due to the developments made in the commercial sense. And integration with European Union also is a phase for modernize the Serbia system. Serbia can benefit from the European Union in many ways, but there may be some obstacles in its relationship with the European Union in this process.
What kind of obstacle? Can you give an example?
The biggest problem that comes first, of course, is the Kosovo problem. The European Union wants the normalization of bilateral relations with Kosovo. The European Union expects the waters between Kosovo and Serbia to settle down and Serbia to recognize the independence of the Kosovo. Serbian President Aleksandar Vučić has recently addressed the issue from this perspective. If we make such an agreement with Kosovo, will there be no obstacles for us to enter the European Union? Besides, it is not true to say that this is the only problem. The conditions and some values demanded by the European Union create deficiencies for Serbia. For example, the justice system and similar economic, social, and political areas need reforms. Another obstacle is relations with Russia and China. The relationship between Serbia and Russia has a long history. We see them helping each other throughout history. European Union wants Serbia to cut off trade relations with Russia, while Serbia is not very willing to cut this connection. So, of course, we can study these obstacles in more detail, but I can say that they are in this context in general.
Well, Mr. Mirkolov, lastly, I want to ask you a question from the public point of view. What do the people of Serbia want? Do they support accession to the European Union or not?
So, like every issue and problem, there are dilemmas and different opinions here too. While some support the development of relations with the European Union and participation, some argue that the relations with Russia are more dominant and are more beneficial for both citizens in Serbia. On the other hand, we encounter the Kosovo problem again. A large part of the people does not look positively about normalization with Kosovo, and in connection with this, they are moving away from the European Union. But both the European Union and Russia have positive effects on Serbia from different angles. Of course, the question of where all this takes us has a big question mark. Every day there's a new development, so what we can do for now is to wait just like we did during the acceptance. We will see together what will happen and develop in the coming period.
Thank you so much for being with us tonight. Although we do not have much time, I think we have touched on important points in general. I hope the most beneficial choices will be made for Serbia and its people in the future. Thank you, dear audience, for watching us. See you next Night Zone.